Hey there, this is Patrick Arnold, analyst at ARC, speaking to you from the ARC Industry Leadership Forum in Orlando. I have the pleasure today of sitting down with Mike Clark, Director of OPC Foundation North America. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm grateful to be here. This is our third or fourth time being the gold sponsor at this event, and we're grateful to have that opportunity. We really appreciate being here. The quality and the nature of the attendees at these forums are right up our alley. We appreciate being able to talk to them. My role at the OPC Foundation is the director for North America. Works primarily as an educator, to be brutally honest. Educator for the industry, for our vendor partners, members of the OPC Foundation. It gives us an opportunity to do some community outreach. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I wanted to start off the conversation here. Typically the people that we interview in these situations are suppliers, and they're trying to sell a product or a solution. So from your perspective, from more of the standards organization perspective, what kind of value are you guys bringing to these events and spreading your message throughout the industrial landscape here?
It's interesting. That question is usually directed to somebody that is a supplier or somebody that's selling something. And the OPC Foundation, when we designed the specification, we donated it to the world. So we don't sell anything, but what's really remarkable is the amount of adoption that we're seeing in OEM products that are coming to the market. Many of our end user friends are all demanding that they have these functionalities built into their products, and so it's kind of a win-win. We see both the push-pull, the tug of industry asking for the technology, but the real fortunate adoption of the OEMs putting it in their products. So, like I said, we don't sell anything per se, but we do share a lot of opportunities for education, for outreach, and giving people an opportunity to ask questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. So speaking of education, so I know there's the field level communication initiative and the cloud initiative that are part of the OPC Foundation. Could you educate me a little bit and our audience about what those are all about and what you've got going on there?
In 2018, the field level communications initiative was launched. From that, there was hundreds of domain experts from around the world that joined that working group. And one of our great colleagues, Peter Lutz, has been very instrumental in herding all the cats, if you will, trying to get that FLC working group to produce deliverables. And the first thing that's come out of that were three phases, if you will. The FLC working group decided that they would start with controller to controller functionality, and then the next phase would be controller to device, and then finally device to device. And so in October of 23, controller to controller was released. While it was in final review though, back in July of 23, we launched controller to device. So those working groups, those hundreds of domain experts are still efforting to try and do the next phase, which is controller to device. But what we're seeing now is the adoption of C2C. In fact, if people step by our booth here, we have a demo wall with 15 different controllers on it, and they're all speaking one to another without the use of gateways or translators. The only thing going between those devices is a piece of copper, just a simple Cat5 cable. On the other hand, talking about the cloud initiative, that's indeed a different direction, right? So field is always, south side, cloud is north side. Last year, the OPC Foundation took several of our working groups, including the Digital Product Passport working group, the AI working group. Oh goodness, there's about 6 different working groups that were all related to cloud architectures. Just an amazing opportunity to harmonize those working groups into what we call the cloud initiative. So you hear me talking about the field initiative and the cloud initiative. The OPC Foundation has now come out with an extension to OPC UA, so OPC Unified Architecture, now has what's called OPC UA FX for Field Exchange and OPC UA CX for Cloud Exchange.
So speaking on those new names here that you're mentioning, do you have any developments that you can share that have taken place within the last year or so?
One of the biggest wins for me personally, so I should maybe give a little history lesson here. I spent 33 years in the process industry, oil and gas primarily. One of the things that I'm most happy to see is that with this new OPC UA FX initiative, all products that are going to bear the FX certification are mandatory that they are certified. So we have certification labs around the world that will do testing on behalf of the OEMs that submit their products. So if it's a product that says it's OPC UA FX, it will be tested and it will be certified in order to be sold as such. That's a big win for industry. It's going to help our end user community immensely because that truly assures plug and play capability.
Okay, well, I wanted to divert the conversation a little bit because something that's come up at the conference and within my own research at ARC has been the idea of a unified namespace. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you guys are supporting at OPC Foundation? And tell me a little bit about how you're working on that.
So unified namespace is like one of three different ways of looking at a construct of taking a subset of OPC UA. So if you look at the address space of an OPC UA implementation, unified namespace would be what we would call a subset of the address space. People have been looking at it from different perspectives and saying, oh, this is a new thing. No, it's not. It's actually something that OPC could very easily have implemented, but there's others that have looked at it and said, no, we're going to call this UNS, or Unified Namespace. A classic example of this, I don't know how many of our viewers today are going to know much about our companion specifications. Several of the people watching this are probably very familiar with companion specs. I know some of the people here at ARC Forum are familiar with the Process Automation Device Information Model, so that's PADIM. And that in and of itself is a way of producing a unified namespace.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is an industrial conference, and of course cybersecurity is a perennial topic here.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about your philosophy for cybersecurity and how your group is really working with the cybersecurity community to advance that?
We're very happy to have relationships in multiple federal agencies around the world. So allow me to just name drop a little bit. We've got a relationship with BSI in Germany. We've been doing some work with DHS CISA here in the US. And of course, this week we've got a speaker in our session from FBI Cyber Division out of headquarters. And so it's been a pleasure for us to rub shoulders with these folks, but it's also intentional, because if you look at the technology of OPC UA, when the OPC Foundation got together with the developers in the outset of developing UA, all that was done was the ability to model information and move it securely. That's the premise behind OPC UA. Mm-hmm. And that cybersecurity model has been baked into the cake since 2003. We were doing zero trust before zero trust was even a thing. And so that's the premise upon which OPC is based, is zero trust. So when we rub shoulders with these folks, when we end up in various working groups, different consortia, we find that there's a fellowship or a brotherhood or sisterhood in those works or in those domains where people are giving us opportunities to share the secure way of putting together a plant. And short of an endorsement, because these federal agencies won't endorse OPC UA, but they will encourage owner-operators, asset owners to follow good cybersecurity policies. And that's one of the things that OPC UA does.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here and have this conversation.
Thanks.
I'm Patrick Arnold here at the ARC Forum in Orlando, sitting down with Mike Clark, Director of North Americas for the OPC Foundation. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.